Hey, what's going on? It's Adam here, and today we are going to review, it's going to be part one of looking at this record-breaking launch by Alex Hormozi. And you guys, this skill set, I don't know if you've caught it, but it can allow you to retire in 1 day. Yes! If you did a fraction of this launch, you can literally get set up for years. And I think so many people are just caught up in getting their offer set up. But it's like, what if you could build a launch over the next 1 year or 2 years that if you could launch, it could set you up to have your biggest launch ever. In fact, what Alex Hormozi did is how I've been able to generate millions of dollars selling my programs and my coaching services. If you don't know who I am, I'm Adam. Welcome to my channel. And you may not have heard of me, but I've been able to impact thousands of people's lives around the world through my very own virtual events. And so I'm here to encourage you that you don't need to have a stage as big as Alex Hormozi in order to not only impact people's lives, but to change your own lives. And so what if you could launch an event that's 30,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 over the next 90 days, 6 months, or even a year, and learn how to do that month over month? You can completely change your life forever. And so I've actually dedicated my life's work to helping people launch these type of virtual events. And it's really cool to see it at another level. It changes the ceiling for what is possible. And so what I want to do today is I want to review a few minutes of this launch. So I'm going to go into a screen share. We'll be able to break down some things. But one of the things that, as I've been talking to different people, it's funny to hear what everybody took away something different. I talked to my wife and she's like, oh, it's because of Layla. Her ads came on my feed and she's the other half and he wouldn't be who he is without Layla. My other buddy's like into nonprofit ministry work and he's like, dude, it was the donations. If you think about it, he had people donate the books. That was the secret. Then you talk to a tech guy and he's like, dude, it was the stage. If you look at the stage, that's the thing that did it. And then you talk to a sales guy and he's like, dude, did you see he totally sold the audience? So there's all these different components, and I'm going to be breaking down some of these components individually because there's a lot of moving parts. If you were to look at the skill sets to actually pull this off and who you would need to become as a person, you would need to learn how to not only build the audience, you have to learn how to lead rooms, you have to learn how to create a powerful offer that people want to buy. You have to have some level of credibility, which takes some time. You have to learn a skill set to pitch the room. Then you have to learn how to onboard seamlessly for everything that you just sold. You have to be able to master systems. Then you have to have a team to help you put this all together. And then you have to have the technology to make sure that it all runs properly. And then you have to be a CEO at the end of the day to make sure that everything is running smooth that you just sold so that your clients are happy and not everyone's asking you for refunds at the end. So it's a lot of skill sets. So if you're watching this, maybe you're newer here, we're going to be diving into where could you begin? And if you stay till the end, then I'm actually going to share with you something really powerful that I think could completely change it all for you on steps you could take right now to begin working towards this goal. Because if you don't have any experience doing this and you think that you could just jump on and run $1 million launch or a $10 million launch, or like Alex, in this case, $100 million launch, it takes some time. So where do you begin? What does those next steps look like? I know you've probably been piecing things together already. Like, I need my offer. I need some leads. How am I going to do this funnel? What's going to be my book? What's going to be this? What's going to be that? So let's take a look at high level. We're just going to go high level today. I'm going to play a quick clip that stood out to me, and I want to just kind of give you my mind on the hardest part about this. We're actually going to start with the part that is the hardest to pull this off. This, in my opinion, is the most difficult aspect to make all of this work that he was able to pull off. So let's go ahead and hit play and let's take a look.
Taking out distributions and gotten paid from the sale of both companies, I started making content to attract companies to ACQ and waited for my next big money model. And that's when School came along. School is a platform that helps anyone build monetize.
Okay, so if you don't know, Alex Hormozi, of course, broke the record in this launch, and part of the what allowed him to get the resources to start really building this audience is he sold his company Gym Launch, another company, exiting at multiple millions, like over 30 million, cashed out, and then he started this company called Acquisition, where then he can then invest in businesses. And this business that he invested in school is going to play a major role in this launch, which we're going to come back to in just a moment.
Sizable communities online. You can live stream one-to-many, host client calls, have in-person meetups, have one-time sales, host competitions, have unlimited pricing tiers, create lifetime deals, free trials, free groups, paid groups, private groups, process payments, all in one place. But here was the money model when we started. 14 days free, then $99 a month. School grew with free trials, hit 1 million users, but it took 3 years. So we made a new attraction offer. We added the school games, which had competition, rewards, and fun. And users exploded. We went from 1 million users to 15 plus million users in 18 months. That's 83,000 users a month to 775,000.
Okay, so this plays a major role in this launch because he's a part owner in school. Now, he didn't announce this, but I can almost assure you that school played a part in the promotion of this launch, being that he's a vested partner. So if you think about it, if there's 15 million subscribers, right, that are promoting this launch, that is going to be part of the success of this. Because if I exit out of this here, you could see that there was about 992,000 people on this first day. That doesn't include the replays and everything like that. So let's just round up. Let's just say 1 million people attended this experience, right? So where do these 1 million people come from? It's easy to think that it just came from his YouTube or it just came from his advertising, but I can almost assure you that school sent out an email to their 15 million users to this. So what's the lesson here? Is that if you look at the people who've made it big in this space, they typically always have major partnerships. So if you look at Brendan Burchard, he did the same thing with his launch, but his partner was Kajabi. Same thing with Amy Porterfield, crossed over 100 million in sales selling her program. Her partners were Kajabi. And so Kajabi has over 50 million users or something like that around the world. So if you think about that, if you get one email send from a company like that to your offer, it could change your life. It could literally retire you. One of the ways that I made my first million is I had partnered with an influencer who had an email list. When she sent out that email list, we generated $500,000 from that original launch. And then from the referrals of that $500,000, we generated another $500,000. So we ended up making over $1 million from one partnership. So when you start thinking about getting in alignment, right? Like you think about Myron Golden partner with ClickFunnels, right? Everybody is connected to some type of higher level software or community that helps really boost or put you on that can put you on the map. So that's really something to take note of or to become aware of on your journey, is asking the question, who could I partner with? Because school played a major role. And it makes sense for them because he's also leading people back into the school software as a part of this launch. So let's keep going.
The users a month. That's 3.5 times faster growth. Just look at the difference between these two graphs. And here's the best part. This new money model made school cash flow positive. Completely unheard of for a platform at this scale growing this fast. It freed up cash to invest even more into the product and make school 10 times better. So that takes us up to present day and shows that money models work in all 4 ways to sell, including the way you sell. And shows us one of each attraction, upsell, downsell, and continuity offer mechanisms. And normally that would be enough, but we're all here. So that brings me to my last $100 million money model. The book launch event itself, which is one of these, number 4, self-checkout online. A free book launch like this costs millions to put on, and let everyone know so they can show up also costs millions.
So he just said 2 things right there. There's 2 sets of millions. So what's the first million he's talking about when a book launch like this costs millions to put on? Well, in his case, he has the studio that he's personally built himself. That studio is probably easily over $100,000 just with the equipment. Then you have the staff that he's had to pay, his marketing manager, his campaign manager, his sales team to be on standby, which they were on from like 8 in the morning until like 12 at night, like every single day. So you got the overhead of that. You got billing people, support people. So this is staffing it, right? Your event planners, your JV partners, your affiliate managers, all the team on the front end to build a container. So if you were to think about like a faucet, he knows that the faucet's about to turn on. So he's getting this container to make sure that he can hold and that he can have enough infrastructure to handle an offer this big, right? That's the risk in all this, because he has to pay for all this, and if he doesn't convert from this event, then he would lose that, right? So there's a lot of millions at risk there. The second millions he's talking about, he's about to cover, that's the actual ad spend, which I'm going to share with you is actually just a really small part of how he filled this room. So we'll go ahead and show this here.
But instead of losing millions, I built a money model that used pre-orders with various money model mechanisms to both make this event free and have the funds to let everyone know about it. So let me show you what we did to demonstrate the ideas of the book with the book. So instead of just releasing a book, we offered a free event, y'all are here now, plus for anyone who registered, we offered VIP status if you pre-ordered, by offering you more value for the same price than if you waited. Way more value. Lots and lots more value.
By the way, this concept is known as bridge marketing. So if you were to think about who's the most successful coach in the world of all time, well, maybe now it might be Alex Hormozi, but before I might say Tony Robbins, right? He's been doing it the longest, still might be the GOAT of the industry. So Tony Robbins has a bridge, and that's his events. He runs events every quarter, 10,000 people in attendance, generating tens of millions of dollars each event. So what is his success formula? Is he bridges people in through a free event. It's actually one of the ways that Jesus reached the world. You might say, Jesus, what does Jesus have to do with this? Well, Jesus is probably one of the best marketers to ever live. He had 1/3 of the world follows him, best-selling book every year, best streaming TV show, and it's been 2,025 years after he came to the earth. So what can we learn about how Jesus marketed himself? He always did something for somebody before he ever asked anything of them. He helped Peter's fishing business. He helped heal people. He helped feed people first, right? There's the bridge, and then he would ask of them. So what Alex is really great at is really bridging people. He's bridging people with value, right? He's saying, hey, I'm going to give you this free event with this small, book here to help you come into this world. I'm going to give you value for this many hours, and then I'm going to ask of you. Most people don't do that. They just promote their products directly, and in order to get to this type of level, you have to master bridging people from where they are into your environment, as nobody wakes up going, hey, I want to hire Alex Hormozi today. He has to pattern interrupt, get him into his world with bridge marketing, and then lead him in. So let's keep going.
This is called a pay less now or pay more later mechanism. After that, I offer 2 hard copies of my ACQ handbooks free if you bought 15 more copies, which is a buy X, get Y free offer, which I use in at least 7 different ways. More on that later.
So why he's explaining this is because what he's explaining here is how it's self-liquidating. He's setting it up to go into a self-liquidating offer, which if you don't know what that stands for SLO. What that means is that when an ad comes to the page, he has to give them the event with the book, which is the $30 pre-order. But why does he have that $400 upsell to get the other stuff that is included? Is because all he's trying to do is break even on the ad cost. So there's a saying that is from one of the GOATs that Alex studies as well. Russell Brunson studied from him, and it's Dan Kennedy. And Dan Kennedy would always say, whoever can spend the most to acquire a client wins the game, right? So what that means is if Alex makes zero money from spending $1 million in ads, but he can make $1 million back, he actually hasn't spent anything. So in essence, you don't really have a marketing budget, which allows you to spend millions of dollars because your ad costs are canceling what you're making in the in the conversion, right? It's covering itself, which is self-liquidating. So what he's drawing out here is he's saying, look, I get people into a free event. I have my book for $30. I have the order bump for $400. So this is what's helping me break even so I can continue to spend more and more millions of dollars to fill my room. So let's take a look at this.
But here's what happened. Day one, I spent $22,000 and got $34,000 back. Day two, I spent $26,000 and got $38,000 back. Day three, I spent $21,000 and got $49,000 back. But here's the important part. On top of that, we got 13,184 folks to find out about this event for free. So we just kept doubling down, using house money to scale this all the way up.
Which, by the way, this is actually one of the harder equations in business to break even on this, right? This is something that if you can focus on and really put a time and attention into breaking even, and you have the risk and the cash flow to lose money and effort in trying, once you crack it, you can scale up really fast. Where it's risky for the new entrepreneur is you have to learn what your audience wants, what they're willing to pay for. Then your upsells have to be tested. Then your one-time upsells or your one-time offers have to be tested. So what happens is that a lot of people lose money on the ad service, the ad spend. They're not converting, and then they quit. So that takes a lot of experience to be able to do what he does. And because he has such a large audience, all of his ads are starting off retargeting his existing followers, because that allows his, he's selling to people who already are aware, which will come to which we'll talk about in just a sec.
Bottom line is this: we spent $4 million plus on advertising and got 6.47,
I love when new people watch this and they look at their friend and they're like, dude, we can do this too. All we need is the first 20 grand and then we can get 20 grand back and then just recycle it. I love the optimism. It's not as simple as that, but I love that. If you're thinking that, you're thinking the right thing, because you see he got 6 million back, but you got to remember he's been building his audience for a lot of years, a lot of credibility here, which helps him also get these numbers as he's become a household name in this space of development. So let's keep going.
Whatever, $6.5 million back. So even though this cost millions to do, I didn't need millions to do it. And this is the key point here. Look at the beginning spend. I didn't drop $4 million day one. As long as you can make more back and keep recycling it through, that's what makes this magical. All I needed was a $100 million money model. After that, the launch funds itself. Once a money model works, it's kind of like playing with house money at the casino, right? This is how I scaled my gyms fast, even though I started at 22 with very little.
Okay. So this is part of the way that he filled the event. So if we were to just take a look at the audience itself, to get 1 million people in a room, this is the hard part. There's a lot of guys who are speakers, who can convert the room, who can create an offer that could sell. Believe it or not, there's guys who can actually sell even better than Alex. What makes this so powerful is the 1 million people in the room. That is the hard part that makes this thing fascinating. Okay, so if we were to break down his traffic strategies, we talked about school as a way of partnering with a software, partnering with the king of your community, having vision for that. You have ads, self-liquidating ads that can pay for themselves. He also has said in previous videos that he invested somewhere between $30,000 to $60,000 a month in content, creating 2 to 3 pieces of content every single day on every single platform, which he did for a few years. So he built his subscriber base to be over 2 million on YouTube and so on and so forth on all these other platforms. So he has millions of followers that he's built, which have cost him millions of dollars to get to, and a lot of time and focus, as that was his main focus over the last 4 years, is building this community. Or building these subscribers. So we look at social media plays a role. Then he has his email list. His email list is probably going to be somewhere north of 1 million to 3 million emails, probably in his personal CRM. That's what I would guess or so, at least, okay? And then you have affiliates, people who he's gone to that are friends of the network who have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people on their list, or the people who are cutting shorts, trying to get people to his event. We call those clippers. So you have all of this working together to get this million people to get these million people in a room to make an event like this happen. So you might be sitting here going, well, how am I going to ever get a million people in the room? That's kind of crazy. I don't even have, $5,000 or $10,000 to invest in this kind of traffic. How am I going to get, 1,000 people in the room? Well, here's the good news is, part of what I've been able to do in my life's work is help people kind of start this process from scratch. Okay. So I've been running these type of events like how to launch 100K virtual workshops with small groups. And that's what I want to share with you. You can start with small groups, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just show you just so you can see some proof that, some of the students I work with who have started from scratch, like Bailey, she has literally had no experience in launching virtual events like this, had no offer, 25K her first launch, right? Dave and Yvette, 150K in their first launch. So you'll see story after story of people that I've taken from scratch. Churia has never done this before, 22,000. You can start with just a small room on Zoom to begin, okay? And the way that we calculate this is if I open up my calculator, let's say you're like, all right, Adam, I first want to be able to make my first 20,000. So we're going to put that here in the calculator. Now, you need an offer to sell between 5 to 25,000, ideally to really maximize virtual events. But if you're not there yet, let's say you have an offer price of 2,000 to start with, okay? If you don't have an offer for 2,000, then I'll put you need to be taught how to do that, okay? And we'll talk about how you can learn that in a second. So what makes my virtual event process unique is we expect our community to convert at 25%, which is the highest in the industry. When you know how to convert at 25%, you actually don't need a lot of people in the room. So to get to this goal of 20K, you would just need about 40 people in your Zoom room to be able to convert this if you know how to lead a room and pitch a room and convert them into your offer, right? So if you fell a little short, so you had only 10 people there, 5K, 20 people there, 10K, right? 60 people there, 30K. Now, if you want to start making $1 million a year with your virtual events, then this is what it's going to look like. You're going to need to get to a place where you could sell that $5,000 offer, and you need to be coached up on how to pitch because this part is super important. So 64 attendees can get you to that $80,000 goal, and we can launch these every single month from Zoom. You don't need a full room like Alex has it. So you might be wondering, well, Adam, how am I going to get these 64 people? I don't have a lot of money to invest. I also can't do ads right now. I don't have my offer set up. I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet, whatever it may be. Well, I want to give you a free invitation to sit in my next workshop, because what I'm going to do is just show you how you can hit some of these bigger goals with just 20 to 30 people in your rooms. So what happens is you'll just quickly fill this out. It's going to request a quick call with our team. It's not a sales call. We just have different workshops for different skill levels. So maybe you're watching this, you're more advanced. Maybe you're watching this and you're newer, and you want to be able to learn this skill set. I'm going to walk you through it step by step. So whether you're a life or business coach, agency owner, you want to be able to learn how to create offers like this to sell your rooms, I'm going to be walking you through two parts. We're going to be talking about how to fill the room, how to lead the room, how to pitch the room, and then how to create this offer to sell so that you could be able to turn around and be able to pull this off. And you could just see, we have pages and pages and pages of success stories. And you could even see here on our blog, just pages and pages of stories that we've been able to help people with. So if you want to learn this skill set, I'll tell you what, learning how to launch live events, virtual events like this, you'll never be broke. You'll never be broke if you learn this skill set, because live events and virtual events aren't going anywhere. They're going to only continue to get bigger and bigger as more influencers collaborate. You might have VR goggles in the future, but this is going to be one of the highest paying skill sets in the future, is learning how to do virtual events. And you're going to want to learn how to do it successfully So we're going to take you from scratch on how to do this process so you can start to get momentum while your money models book is on the way and your 200 copies. You'll be able to get some momentum in doing this, and you'll get to learn it all for free. In fact, you can't even buy anything during the workshop. So if you want a guest pass to sit in, I'll drop the link below the video here. And thank you so much for watching. I'm going to do more breakdowns on this video here. So if you liked this, let us know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. And I hope this helped you increase today.